follow 8 years before. Everyone stunned by the fury of Lewis's attack.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before I get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast or be a content creator. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT, Mike Mazik. Salute, Mike. Salute to everyone. And welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Box Storian. Today, Christmas boxing history. And you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Storian bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. How's everyone today? Merry Christmas to everyone. This is the special Christmas Day edition of Cass Sports, Wednesday, December 25th. And we got a little Christmas boxing history today. Some fights that happened on Christmas. We got a couple fighters who were born on Christmas. Yep, big show today. I hope everybody is having a good Christmas so far today. Yeah, and that I was talking about the Boxing Day. We was going to find out what it was. It has nothing to do with Christmas. Boxing Day has nothing to do with Christmas. It's a UK tradition, and History.com explains it. It's holiday origin that the day after Christmas was when boxers built small gifts and money to be given to household servants and employees who had to work on Christmas. Excuse me for one moment. Hold on for a minute. I don't know what else you're talking about. What do you mean what's wrong? Huh? With my voice? Oh. I don't know, maybe it's your phone. Am I coming through okay? Miss Cass claim I'm blurring out, so maybe it's her phone. Okay. Azim Shabazz, can y'all hear me clearly? Give me a thumbs up, please, if you can hear me clearly. Miss Cass claim I'm fading in and out. Maybe it's her old raggedy iPhone. Salute Azim Shabazz. Azim says I'm coming through okay, Miss Cass. It's that iPhone. I told y'all to stick with those Androids, man. Thank you, Azim. Yeah, Boxing Day has nothing to do with Christmas, though. It's the day where you I call it boxing because you box up presents and you give it to your employees who had to work on Christmas. Okay, but let's move on. So that's what that was about. Nothing to do with Christmas. So yeah, but Merry Christmas, everybody. Appreciate y'all spending part of your Christmas day with Cass Sports. We're gonna got some Christmas history, and like I said, some fights that happened on Christmas, and some boxers that were born on Christmas. And time permitting, since Christmas is about family, we got some boxing families we're gonna talk about at the end, like the Mayweathers, Chris Eubank Sr. and Jr., the Benns, the Conor Benn, his son are weird, man. I don't even want to tell y'all about the picture I saw them two. Father and son kissing, man. What the hell is wrong with them? You don't kiss your grown-ass son in the mouth, man. They are just weird. Nigel and Conor Benn, come on, man. I started not to include them. And the Frazier's, Joe Frazier's son and daughter followed him into boxing. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna talk about some boxing families, time permitting. Yeah, the Benns are just weird. I already knew there was something wrong with them. Okay, but let's start out with some highlights of boxing history until 2:30. Get things kicked off. Yeah, salute. Good to see you, Azim Shabazz. Merry Christmas. Mike Mazik in the building. Merry Christmas, Mike. Appreciate y'all stopping by today. Let's talk about some highlights of boxing history. We ended with what, 1965 yesterday, right? See, I wrote it down. 1965 is where we ended at. Okay. Well, let's do that for like 15 or 20 minutes, and then we're gonna get into the Christmas history. Got a kind of a long piece of Christmas history. I'm gonna jump around. That they could take the whole until 4 o'clock if I try to read all that. Okay, but 1965 is where we are. I think that fight happened. Was that 1965, the second Ali listing? When Ali was standing there telling them to get up. Ali knew the man took a dive. Ali barely hit him, you know? And Sonny Liston had a chin. So, but on March 30th, 1965. March 30th, 1965. Jose Torres becomes the first Hispanic light heavyweight champion in history, knocking out Willie Pastrana in 9 rounds at New York City. Also on the card, Emil Griffith retains his world welterweight title with a 15-round decision over Jose Stable. Same card. Okay, that was March 30th. May 25th, 1965. That was a long one. Muhammad Ali retains his WBC World Heavyweight title in a rematch. Yeah, that was it. With Sonny Liston. That's the picture on the screen. By knocking him out in the first round. What proved to be one of the most controversial fights in boxing history. Because few were able to see the knockout punch. Even people sitting in the first round didn't see it. The fight therefore became known as the Phantom Punch fight. And it was also the world title fight that attracted the smallest number of live spectators in boxing history. It was in Lewiston, Maine. And the small spectators, that was probably about Ali being Muslim. You know, they didn't want a Muslim heavyweight champion at that time. And yeah, that's why not many people attended the fight. Yeah. And they found a way to get the belt away from him. You know, we all know that history about the draft and all of that stuff. It happened a few years after this fight. December 10th, 1965. But yeah, that was the Phantom Punch fight. On December 10th, 1965, after a ceremony to honor Sugar Ray Robinson for his retirement after 25 years, 1940 to 1965. And the ceremony included some of his former rivals, Carmen Basilio, Gene Fullmer, Carl Bobo Austin, and Randy Turpin, all of those from those great 1950s middleweights. Emil Griffith retained his world welterweight title with a 15-round decision over Mexican-American Manuel Gonzalez in the first fight ever to be shown on color TV. Yep, that was the main event of Sugar Ray's retirement ceremony. And the first fight ever shown on color TV, 1965. D for the win in the building. Merry Christmas, D for the win. Appreciate you stopping by today, bro, on the holiday. Appreciate you. We got a little Christmas history. But first, we got some highlights of boxing history, as we usually do between 2 and 2:30. But salute D for the win. Merry Christmas. Okay, yeah. Okay, that was it for, let's go to 1966. March 1st, 1966. Horacio Akavallo beats Katsuyoshi Takayama by a 15-round decision in Tokyo, Japan to win the vacant WBA and vacant WBC World Flyweight title, making Salvatore Baruni. He was a champion who was stripped of the title by the WBA and WBC as a 2004 boxing's last undisputed world champion in the flyweight division. Wow. Hey, that's crazy. Last undisputed champion in the flyweight division. That's very interesting. I'm gonna have to research that. That was 1966. That's the last time flyweight had an undisputed champion. Well, I definitely have to look into that. Okay, June 1st, 1966. June 1st. The Fighting Harada repeats his earlier victory over Ida Joffre, retaining the world's bantamweight title by a 15-round decision in Tokyo, Japan. Joffre subsequently announced his retirement after the fight, but he would return later in 1970. Yeah, most of them always come back. You know, let's go to the 70s. Didn't have up to 67, 68, 69. Let's go to the 70s. Okay. Yeah, 70s was those 3 big Ali Frazier fights, remember? February 16th, 1970. Oh man, I don't have a February 16th. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm still in the 60s. No wonder I don't have a February 16th. I'm still in the 60s. Let's go to the 70s. We got like about 10 more minutes. We're going to get into the show. Let's look at it. Go to like 1975. Yeah, but the last time flyweight had an undisputed champion was 1966. Wow. I'm going to have to look into that. That's a long time. This is 2024. That's like 50-something years, 58 years, right? 24 to 70 is 50 to 60. Yeah, 58 years. No way. But now the four belt era, they probably haven't, the way the belts are all spread out nowadays, the way the fighters willing to share the belts and all that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of divisions got 4 different champions. Will never be undisputed. So it could be true. But I'm going to find out. Okay, 1970s. That's when Joe Frazier and Ali had that big trilogy. You remember? Okay, yeah. The first one was February the 16th, 1970. Joe Frazier becomes world heavyweight champion by knocking out Jimmy Ellis in 5 rounds at New York City's Madison Square Garden. And Joe Frazier, Ellis won the title in that tournament he had when he stripped Ali in. And Joe Frazier boycotted the tournament in favor of Ali. He didn't fight in it. They had a tournament to see who would win Ali's belts. And Joe Frazier boycotted it in support of Ali. Then he later beat Jimmy Ellis in 1970. That's how he became champion, not from the tournament. May 9th, 1970. Vicente Saldivar returns to the ring with only 1 fight in the last 2 years. And he won the WBC World Featherweight Championship in his first fight back. 15-round decision over Gianni Famachan in Rome, Italy. Yep. First fight in 2 years, he came back and won the title. Donnie Williams. Salute, Donnie. Merry Christmas, Donnie. Donnie is in the building. Appreciate you stopping by today. Hope everybody's having a great Christmas. I'm almost ready to eat at 4 o'clock. When I get off of here, I guess. But yeah, August 4th, 1970. Big George Foreman beats George Chuvalo by a technical knockout in the 3rd round. And Big George was just destroying everybody. If anybody got to 5 rounds with him back then, you had accomplished something. Because Big George won 2 rounds. He was just destroying everybody back around that time until he ran into Ali. October 26, 1970. Muhammad Ali, he returned from his exile with a 3-round stoppage of Jerry Quarry in Atlanta, Georgia. That was his first fight back, October 26th, in Atlanta, GA. He got the 3rd round stoppage. Hadn't fought since 67. Yep, 3 years. November 7th, 1970. King Carlos Monzon becomes world middleweight champion by knocking out Nino Benvenuti in 12 rounds in Benvenuti's home country of Italy, Rome, Italy. And Carlos held that until 1977 years. And I told you, him and Marvin Hagler, between 1970 and 1987, either Carlos Monzon or Marvin Hagler was undisputed middleweight champion. All of those years, except for 3 of those 17 years, one of those 2 ruled the middleweight division. 14 of the next 17 years. Yep. Carlos Monzon, King Carlos Monzon, and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. They ran middleweight. But they never fought because they interlapped a little, but Carlos was at the end of his career and Marvin was at the beginning of his. So a fight between them would have meant absolutely nothing, because Carlos was old and Marvin was young. So, yeah. And when Marvin finally won the title, Carlos had been long gone out of the sport by then. Yeah. With 2 great middleweight champions, Hall of Famers. Yeah. And then November 18th, 1970, Joe Frazier retains his world heavyweight crown with a 2-round knockout, a reigning world light heavyweight champion, Bob Foster. Yeah, Bob Foster lost to Frazier and Ali. He was too small for those guys, even Joe Frazier. Bob was a light heavyweight, So yeah, he was in over his head against them. Frazier and Ali, really. Okay, 1970. December 7th. December 7th, 1970. In the 15th and final round, Muhammad Ali knocked down Oscar Bonavena 3 times and earned the win at Madison Square Garden. Yep, Muhammad knocked Oscar down 3 times. And that was like his second. He hadn't been back too long. It might have been like his 3rd fight by then. Yeah. Okay, what we got? We got like 5 more minutes. Let's do 1971. March 8th. Yeah, we got to do that. March 8th, 1971, the fight of the century. That was the second fight of the century because Jack Johnson and Jess Willard was the first one way back like 1907, 08. Might have been 1910, but way back there. This is the second fight of the century. Before a jet-set crowd that included Cher, Frank Sinatra, Woody Allen, Mia Farrow, Diana Ross, and many other stars. Joe Frazier dropped Muhammad Ali in the 15th round and wins a unanimous decision to retain the world heavyweight title at New York City's Madison Square Garden and give Muhammad Ali the first loss of his career. Yep, just smoking Joe Frazier. And they both had a legitimate claim to the title because Ali had never lost it in the ring. He got stripped, right? But that wasn't Joe Frazier's fault, and Joe had won it in the ring. So, they settled it in the ring. And Joe came out on top in that first fight. But of course, Ali got 2 out of 3 in the trilogy. But yeah, Joe, that was the biggest one right there. The most iconic one was that first one, 71. Yeah, and Joe won that one. Yeah. March 16th, 1971. In what turns out to be Henry Cooper's final fight, he lost to Joe Bugner in a controversial 15-round decision, as Bugner became the British, Commonwealth, and European heavyweight champion. In Cooper's hometown of London, England, yeah, the 2 British fighters got it on. Joe Bugner came out on top in that one. Okay, we're going to finish up 71. July 26, 1971. July 26. There we go. Former world heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali beats his friend and gym mate, former heavyweight champion Jimmy Ellis, by a knockout in round 12 in Houston, Texas. And that was the only fight of Ali's career where Angelo Dundee wasn't in his corner because Angelo trained Jimmy Ellis, so Angelo was in Jimmy's corner. And Angelo picked Jimmy's corner. He trained both of them because he was Ali's trainer, but he was Jimmy Ellis's trainer/manager. And at that time, I don't know how it is now, but at that time, you got a bigger percentage of the fighter's bag by being the manager. So no brainer, Angelo was in Jimmy's corner because he was his trainer and manager. He made more money in Jimmy's corner. But of course, he went back to Ali. And I used to know who trained Ali for that fight, some big old-time legendary trainer, but I can't remember who it was. And I meant to find out before today, but he had some kind of old legendary trainer way back from the 40s or 50s or something. But of course, Angelo went back because that was his money right there, Ali. Yeah, and Ali forgave him. Angelo didn't tell, he didn't tell Jimmy Ellis all his secrets and stuff. Yeah. That was his money bag there, his meal ticket, Ali. November 5th, 1971. Pedro Carrasco becomes Spain's second world boxing champion. He beat Mando Ramos by an 11th round disqualification in Madrid, Spain, to take the WBC's vacant world lightweight title. This fight was extremely controversial, okay? Ramos was disqualified because after Carrasco hit the deck in round 11, the referee decided to declare Carrasco the winner because he didn't know if Carrasco had been felled by a punch or a push. So if you don't know, how are you going to disqualify the man? Suppose it was a punch. Wasn't that crazy? Yeah, I talked about this before. The referee didn't know if he knocked the man down with a punch or a push, so he decided to disqualify him and admitted he didn't know. So why not just wave the knockdown off and to continue the fight? That referee messed up on that one. And he disqualified him and gave it to the other guy. And he admitted he didn't know whether it was a punch or a push. So what was your reason for disqualifying him if you didn't know? I mean, I would have lied and said I knew it was a push. I would have never said I didn't know and then disqualified him. Ain't that crazy? I would have said, yeah, it was a push. He said, I don't know, so I'm going to disqualify. That's crazy. That was just bad refereeing there. That was just terrible refereeing. Okay, let's stop right there. Tomorrow we'll start at 1972. Okay, we're going to start talking about this Christmas history now. Christmas boxing history. And I've got like 4 or 5 fighters that were born on Christmas Day. Ricky Henderson, the baseball player, passed away Friday. I just found it out yesterday. Yeah, because he was born on Christmas. Now looking up the boxers, he came up, and yeah, baseball player. I didn't know Ricky had passed away Friday. Yeah, Ricky Henderson. I think, is he still an all-time stolen base leader? Jay Hardcore in the building. What's up, Jay Hardcore? Yeah, I did not know Ricky Henderson had passed away Friday. I just found that out. And he was only about, probably early 70s. I think he had cancer. But he was born on Christmas too. Yeah, Ricky Henderson. Oakland A's, New York Yankees, fame. Got a couple World Series. He used to steal bases and not even slide. And then this one catcher gonna say, he's trying to embarrass me by not sliding. Well, throw him out there. If he can get down there and be safe without sliding, why slide? The catcher said he was embarrassed and throw him out there. Right? But salute Jay Hardcore. How are you today, bro? Yeah. The catcher said he was embarrassed because Ricky would run on down there and wouldn't even slide. But he was safe, so why slide? Right? But yeah, Christmas boxing history today. We got this piece on, we're going to start out with that little history of boxing on Christmas. Y'all like that thumbnail right there? Santa Claus, ready to throw down. Looking mean too. Okay. But how's everybody? Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody's Christmas is going okay so far. I'm eating at 4 o'clock, and I mean 4:01. You know, 4:01. Started to before I got on here, but it's too early. I know Jay Hardcore got a big spread over there. It's the hardcore rather than. But salute, Jay. Merry Christmas. Okay, a history of Christmas boxing. That's what we're talking about. A history of Christmas boxing. Got that old mean looking Santa Claus up there. Get back on, don't pick my Santa Claus off. I'm always hitting buttons and stuff. Okay, history of Christmas boxing. It's kind of long, so I'm gonna jump around, but there's some pretty interesting things in here. Let's talk about it. And remember that Boxing Day I said we're gonna find out about? It has nothing to do with Christmas. It's Boxing Day because they're boxing up presents, and it was they give presents the day after Christmas. It was a UK tradition. They box up presents and give them to them the day after Christmas to servants and employees. They had to work on Christmas. So that's where the Boxing Day come up. They boxing up presents, nothing to do with the sweet science. Yep. But Christmas Day boxing cards are an increasingly rare breed, especially in recent decades. But there used to be a plethora of small cards across the globe. Sadly, the not-so-traditional festive punch-ups have slowly ground to a halt. It is a shame, as in days gone by, this fixture has thrown up oddities aplenty. Now, anyone who has complained about the long, stressful preparation that goes into Christmas dinner should spare a thought for the well-traveled Georgia born Barbie Dobbs and South Bethlehem, Pennsylvania's Pete Sheenan. These two met in Trenton, New Jersey on Christmas Day, 1899 for a scheduled 20-round fight. Scheduled for 20 rounds, right? Now, Sheenan retired after the 9th round after having the stuffing beat out of him. It was a quick return to form for Dobbs. Dobbs had been knocked out in 6 rounds by Barbados Joe Walcott on the 5th of December, just a few weeks before, right? About 2.5 weeks before that, he had just fought and been knocked out. I guess they didn't have that kind of thing where you had to be suspended or whatever, because he got knocked out like 2 weeks before. It was right back in the ring. But the newspaper, the Deseret newspaper reported the Walcott result in the December 6, 1899 issue. And it also signed off by pointing out that Dawes and Walcott were both Negroes, right? In those days, adding a bit of color to a fight report or dispatch had a whole different meaning back then. Now, more recently, Paul's Tony Booth and Manchester's couple of UK fighters, Pat Barrett, have both fought on Christmas Day. Booth traveled to Belgium in 1992 and dropped a decision to Franco Wanyama. Barrett registered a points win over Marino Montagnais in Belgium in 1994. And none of those names probably really sound like that, but I ain't too good with names. The name got to be Smith, Jones, Brown, something like that. I'm good at those. But Montagnais and all that stuff, yeah, maybe I should have spelt them for y'all. But anyway, further back, there was a card in Newcastle in 1925 that featured Jack Dempsey, but not the Jack Dempsey, and also not the middleweight Jack Dempsey. In a scheduled 6-round fight against Sunderland-based Swede Hans Torkelsson, this was the British Jack Dempsey, and he scored a second-round TKO win. Yep, Jack Dempsey wasn't that one. Now, the war years were fighting years in the UK in more ways than one, as Christmas cards went ahead in London and Belfast in 1939, just a few months after the announcement that UK was at war with Germany. Still had cards over there on Christmas. Now, further shows were held in 1940 in Belfast and Glasgow, and 1941 in Belfast. Elsewhere, the tradition of fighting on Christmas Day continued throughout World War II. And perhaps watching two men honestly going at it in the ring was a welcome distraction from the slaughter and ideology of World War II, right? Now, once the war was over and the dust had settled, Christmas Day cards started up again in the UK, but they only appeared sporadically after the war, and then they petered out completely. I guess it was like a distraction from the war because the Christmas boxing was going strong during the war, but once the war ended, they kind of like petered out, right? Now, speaking of war, there was a famous Christmas truce between German and British soldiers in 1914. That was World War I. 22 boxing cards took place in the United States that day, right? And there was also one in Mexico. And the soldiers briefly left the battlefield to the boxers, left them fighting to the boxers, right? And Christmas Day 1915 was a busy one in Brooklyn, New York. Philadelphia's Battling Lewinsky and fireman Jim Flynn met in the famous Borough, a 10-round newspaper win. Now remember, newspaper win and draws are only to be used as an indication that a fight took place, you know. They don't go on your record or anything like that, right? Now, a reporter wrote that the veteran Flynn was treated to a bad lacing. Time and again, Lewinsky landed right flush on Flynn's jaw, right? And then it said that Flynn landed approximately one shot to every 25 landed by Lewinsky. Wow, that was a shellacking. He landed one punch to Lewinsky's 25, right? And that was a painful day for Flynn. Wow. I don't know why they didn't stop that. And there were 8 cards in New York State that year, but Brooklyn was the place to be. The Claremont Avenue rink hosted a fight, a card that saw Newark, New Jersey's Patsy Cline knock out Pennsylvania's young Tommy O'Toole in a single round in the first round, while Brooklyn's Zulu Kid, was given a 10-round newspaper decision over Preston-born, Brooklyn-based young Ahern. And the Hungary-born, New York-based fighting legend, Soldier Barterfeld. He completed the lineup, and he was stopped in 8 rounds by Brooklyn's Italian Joe Gans, not the Joe Gans, the Italian Joe Gans, right? And a third show was held at Vanderbilt in Atlantic City. The Allentown Joe Gans won a 10-round newspaper decision over Boston's Wee Wee Barton. Yeah, it was a lot of Joe Gans. None of those were the Baltimore Joe Gans. Had an Allentown Joe Gans and had another Joe Gans too. And then we had the real Joe Gans, the Baltimore Joe Gans, right? Yeah. Okay. Now in 1920, Harry Greb. Is that on list 236? Wow. Good. In 1920, Harry Greb beat Jeff Smith over 10 rounds. And all these are Christmas Day fights now, yeah. Harry Greb, in 1920, Harry Greb beat Jeff Smith over 10 rounds to earn a newspaper decision. He took on Tommy Loughlin on Christmas Day, 1923. We're going to go into that one deeper in a little while. I got like 6 fights we're going to talk about that happened on Christmas next. And this was another 10-round win for Harry Greb. And the Gazette-Times reported that Loughlin had missed the middleweight title limit by a whopping 8.5 pounds, robbing the fans of a title fight, because Loughlin came in 8.5 pounds over. And according to reports, Greb earned the win, but he looked jaded in the process. In mitigation, though, the Pittsburgh windmill Harry Greb, he had taken Gene Tunney the full 15-round championship distance just 2 weeks before that fight, right? And Greb lost out on the American light heavyweight title in that one, and Tunney was no slouch, so he could be forgiven by feeling the effects of the Tunney fight. He had just fought 2 weeks before that, right? Now, readers who enjoy the outlandish names of some of these old timers would have enjoyed the 1925 Christmas Day card at Portland's Exposition Building. Pancho Villa, right? He fought to a draw with Kid Levine, and the show featured another 4-round newspaper draw in Rip Van Dyke versus Major Lassard, right? Over in Philadelphia, Tommy Loughlin had a better Christmas Day than the one he endured in 1923. He beat Emilio Solomon over 10 rounds, 10-round decision in that one. Okay? Now, an example of Christmas Day star power and tinsel occurred in 1950 when Sugar Ray Robinson stretched out Hans Stretch in Frankfurt, Germany. Stretch was floored 6 times in the first 4 rounds, and in the 5th round, he was knocked to the canvas with a series of left hooks and right crosses. And that came out from the Baltimore African American. December 30th, 1950, reported on that one. Now, Sugar Ray had fought 13 days before that fight. He had stopped former EBU welterweight champion Robert Villemain in 9 rounds, right? The Frenchman had challenged Sugar Ray for the vacant Pennsylvania State World Middleweight title. And it was Sugar Ray beat him by a 15-round decision. Villemain was no match for Sugar Ray. In fact, Sugar Ray's form against Villemain even impressed the communist press, who had criticized Sugar Ray before the fight, right? And this fight also drew a sizable pre-Christmas crowd, 20,000, and a lot of money. This fight made 30 million francs, which amounted to $85,000 in American money, right? This fight was in Germany, and it was December 23rd, 1950. You know, not all exactly on Christmas Day, but right around Christmas. And the communist newspaper, I Humanite, wrote that Robinson, without trickery of irregularities, confirmed what had already been suspected, that he is a great champion and that he can win without recourse to American methods. Wow. Yeah, that was a communist newspaper that wrote that. There was a welcome change from the criticism they leveled on Robinson before the fight, slating him for speaking out against communism or segregation, right, in the U.S., and accusing him of possessing an irregular boxing style. Robinson's take on the matter was succinct. He said, "They're nuts." Sugar Ray said they're nuts. Okay, now, promoter Sam Silverman, he was a busy man during his career. He put on a stack of shows in the New England area and was involved in 32 of Rocky Marciano's 49 professional fights. Therefore, it's no surprise that his name has popped up, Sam Silverman. Okay, big time promoter, 40s, 50s. Now, Silverman promoted a show in Portland, Maine in 1968. Now, Maine, along with Pennsylvania, was a veritable hotbed of Christmas Day boxing. You know, there was a lot of Christmas Day boxing in Maine in decades going by. And I lost my place. Maine, along with Pennsylvania, was a veritable hotbed of Christmas Day boxing action in decades going by. That was topped by Bangor's Paul Casper, banging out New York's Jimmy Chirico in 3 rounds. Plus, he had solid support in Leo DeForest, who beat New Jersey's Tony Cruz by a 10-round decision. Maine was in the frame again in 1969, and so was DeFiore, in action for a successive Christmas, for 2 Christmases in a row. This time, though, DeFiore lost to Canada's Artie Jones. The Portland-based featherweight was dropped in the 3rd and 4th rounds before losing on points over 10 rounds. No matter how stressful your Christmas Day is, it is unlikely to be as painful as the one DeFiore went through that day. One of the undisputed kings of Christmas Day action also fought for the heavyweight world title. And you guess who it is? Here's a hint. The reason he fought on that particular day so many times is because he was born in and fought out of Belgium. The Lion of Flanders, Jean-Pierre Koopman. He was stopped in 5 rounds by Muhammad Ali in February 1976, and that was his only world title shot. And he fought 5 times on Christmas Day, 1972, 1974, 1976, 1979, and 1980. Koopman fought 5 times on Christmas. Koopman beat Neville Mead in Izegem, Belgium on Christmas Day to round off 1976. Okay? He began the year with the fight with Ali and also suffered a low blow disqualification loss to Henny Thunen in Rotterdam in May 1976, which he avenged in his very next fight by stopping the Dutchman in the 6th round. It was the very definition of a topsy-turvy year for Koopman. Now, in 1999, Thailand's Houston, we have a problem. Okay, let me put this. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. From Thailand. Here he is right here. We got time. Pongelek. That's his first name. Remember, we talked about him before. Remember, I call him PJ. G-A-E-M. Him. There he is. From Thailand. Oh, PW. In 1999, Thailand's PW stopped compatriot in 3 rounds in Bangkok to close out a year that had been seen him fight 6 times up to that point. It set him up nicely going into the new millennium, where he had 6 years of dominance in his first run as the WBC's flyweight boss before running into Daisuke Naito in 2007. Yeah, PW had a pretty good run starting out the 2000s, right? Now, 2005 featured a whopping 24-fight built in Osaka, Japan. A string of 4-rounders topped by 2 6-3s featuring Yoshio Kojima against Masaya Adamoto and Yusuke Hamada taking on Takashi Toyama. It was an avalanche of action that must have taken an almighty chunk from the day and probably cost a few very quiet and polite family rows. Yeah, that was a 24-fight bill 2005 on Christmas in Osaka, Japan. Now, a few familiar names were in action during the 2006 card in Belgium, as Mike Agoet and Ismail Abdul boxed on the same card for the 2nd time that year. The Belgian boxers had appeared on a card in Manchester in June against Jamie Moore and David Hay, They both lost, right? But they fared much better this time on Christmas, registering decision wins over Abdel Mahidi and Jean-Claude Bicall. Now, Algoret, he must love the festive period. He picked up a win on Christmas Day 2002, a 6-round decision over John Amelie. So he liked fighting on Christmas. This guy did. Crush the Legend. What's up, Crush? We just talked about a little boxing that happened on Christmas through the years. We up to like the 2000s. Then we got some fights. We touched on them briefly in this, but we're going to go into them more deeply. We got like 4 or 5 boxers that were born on Christmas Day. And then Christmas is about family. So we got some boxing families, you know, like the Frazier's. Joe Frazier's son and daughter followed them into boxing. Nigel and Connor Ben, the Eubanks, Jr. and Sr., the Mayweathers, Leon Spinks and his son. Yeah, so we're going to talk about them in a little while. Okay, because this is kind of long. Now, as far as title fight, but salute, Crush. As far as title fights, Santa Claus has not been generous when it comes to the marquee fights, saving them for the more traditional fight dates. Yet, there have been some title fights that slipped through, right? Man, I don't even know this guy's name. Pranusek Pasuwan. We'll do this again. Gregory Pratt, what's up, GP in the building? What's up, Gregory Pratt? This name got about 50 letters in the first name, man. I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to call him PP, and both his names start with a P. Okay, this is his first name. Check this out. Okay? I bet nobody here can pronounce it. I can. PramuaNsak. That's his first name, right? Wait a minute. Let me put that capital letters. Posu. WAN. Now, what I'm supposed to do, man? You know, y'all know good and well I can't, but there he is. Y'all know I cannot pronounce that, right? So, PP. This was a title fight. They didn't have many title fights on Christmas Day, but this was actually a title fight on Christmas Day. Your happy holidays to everybody. And salute, GP. Good to see you. Yeah. PP put in a full 12-round stint at Penang, Thailand in 2007, decisioning Eric Barcelona for the WBO Asia Pacific Super Flyweight title. Russ never sleeps, not even on Christmas Day, and nor do the alphabet groups, right? Yeah, because they had that fight right there on Christmas. Yeah, we're winding down there. We're going to get into the fight soon, next. Now what happened? Now, Jimmy Winkleworth are mentioned, mainly because of the Belgium's amusing surname. But there were no gift for him in Belgium in 2008. He lost to Francis Sharif Benchadi, his second defeat in a row. And he had to wait until January 2010 for his next win. Wow, 2 years. That's Christmas then. And when the final bell tolls in Belgium later today, oh yeah, that was Christmas then. Okay. So let's move on to the imagine what it is like to fight on Christmas Day, making sacrifices leading up to the fight, and then putting your life on the line on a day when most people are overeating and drinking their fair share of Christmas cheer. Pat Barrett has experienced the Christmas Day experience, and it is no fun if you're fighting away from home. Barrett knew deep down that it was the end, even if he won, when fighting Marino Montaigne in Belgium in 1994. He knew that his boxing career was in the rearview mirror. He felt it even as the tape was applied and when he went through all the familiar rituals, performing familiar tasks on unfamiliar ground on a day when he would rather have been at home. No longer a champion, but still a fighter, he knew his own body and that the edge had gone. When he came back to the dressing room after registering a decision win, he actually won the fight over 8 rounds. He realized that it was the end of the road rather than the start of a new beginning. Yeah, he won the fight, but he knew it was over for him. He had said, the last fight I had on Christmas Day in Belgium, he was 37 wins, 4 1 loss, right? and he moved into training and promoting after his retirement. He said, I went over on my own. I remember it as the worst day of my life. It's Christmas Day, and I'm in Belgium having my last fight. His trainer, Brian Hughes, didn't want him to make a comeback, but I was told to go over to Belgium and make a load of money. It was good to be told that I was just as good as I used to be. You just want that hype of someone telling you that you still have it. But Brian he wasn't telling me the truth. He didn't still have it. Okay, let's move on to the fights that we got on the agenda for today. Got like 6 fights that happened on Christmas, okay? And let's get them going for y'all. 6 fights that happened on Christmas Day. Touched on a few of them just now, but we're going to go into them a little bit deeper now. Okay? These are some famous festive fights that happened on Christmas Day. How's everybody get what they wanted for Christmas? I didn't get my laptop. Yeah. But this one is good. Okay. Famous festive fights that happened on Christmas Day. Let's talk about them. Not too. I'm not trying to bore y'all to death on Christmas Day. Just briefly, like yesterday. Okay, the first one is now Christmas is just another day for fighters. Regardless of the holiday season, it's business as usual. Throughout boxing history, legendary names have gloved up and taken to the ring rather than indulging in the usual festivities. This Christmas period, Box World looks back at the legendary names who were involved in famous festive fights. Joe Gans versus Kid Herman, 1907. This is the real Joe Gans. That's Joe on the right there. Remember we talked about those other 2 Joe Gans? This is the real Joe Gans here from Baltimore, Maryland. Now, while many feel the self-inflicted effects of the festivities on New Year's Day, Kid Herman was left with a different type of headache on the first day of 1907. Now, all these fights not exactly on Christmas. They right around Christmas. Now, Herman was feeling the force of a devastating knockout defeat at the hands of boxing first ever African-American world champion, Joe Gans. The old master earned an 8th round stoppage success after landing a flush right hook on his challenger as he made a successful defense of his lightweight crown to celebrate the new year in style. This fight was in Las Vegas. Now, Gans would reign throughout the following year and go down in history as one of the division's all-time greats. Sadly, he died just 2 years later from tuberculosis at just 35 years old. The old master, Joe Gans. Told you it wasn't going to be long. Jack Johnson versus Tommy Burns, 1908. Jack Johnson versus Tommy Burns. These are fights that happened right around Christmas. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more in the building. What's up, Bruce Gas? It's talking about some fights that happened right around. Not all happened exactly on Christmas Day, but they was right around Christmas time. Holiday fights. Salute, Bruce Gas. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Spend a little bit of your Christmas on Cash Sports. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Salute. Okay. Next one is Jack Johnson and Tommy Burns. There they go. Now, undoubtedly, the biggest and most prominent fight to have ever taken place over the festive period happened on Boxing Day 1908. This was December 26, 1908, right? Boxing Day. And that has nothing to do with Christmas. Like I said earlier, Boxing Day is when it was a UK tradition. They box up presents and give them to their servants and employees that had to work on Christmas Day. They give it to them on December 26th. Boxing Day is boxing up presents and stuff. Yeah. Now, in one of the most culturally significant events in sporting history, Jack Johnson became boxing's first ever black heavyweight champion in Sydney, Australia. Toying with the outclassed defending champion Tommy Burns, the Galveston Giant finally ended the one-sided beatdown in the 14th round. And to avoid any video evidence of a black man knocking out a white man, cameras were shut off and the police stormed the ring to call a halt to the pummeling. This historic victory began Johnson's iconic 7-year reign as heavyweight ruler and marked a seismic moment in the fight for racial equality. Okay, next one. Couldn't find a good picture, but this is Harry Greb versus Tommy Loughlin, 1923. Okay, 1923. That's Greb facing us. Loughlin with his back to us. Okay. Regarded by most historians as the greatest prize fighter of all time, Harry Greb fought anyone, anywhere, at any time, even on Christmas Day. So this fight actually happened on December 25th, 1923. Now the Pittsburgh Windmill, which is what they called Harry Greb, he was scheduled to defend his middleweight world title against challenger Tommy Loughlin on Christmas Day, 1923. But perhaps tucking in the Christmas dinner a little prematurely, Loughlin missed the weight limit by more than 8 pounds to make it a non-title fight, right? Now, he was 8.5 over, actually. Now, Greb handed Loughlin a season's beating over 10 rounds. Greb handed him a season's beating over 10 rounds, prevailing by decision in what was the 5th of 6 total meetings between these two eventual Hall of Fame legends. Now, Sam Langford and I think with Harry Wills met 24 times. That's got to be the record of two fighters fighting each other 24 times. Now, the victor here was the series ruler with 4 wins overall, while Loughlin notched a single triumph, and the pair battled to a draw in their other meeting. Tragically, Greb would only live to see 2 more Christmas days, while Loughlin later became light heavyweight world champion during his illustrious career. Sugar Ray Robinson versus Hans Stretch, 1950. We touched on this one early. 1950. Okay. Now, the great Sugar Ray Robinson was in no mood for any festive spirit on Christmas Day, 1950. Homesick in Germany and fresh off an overnight train journey from Paris alongside his entourage, Robinson handed Hans Stretch a merciless beating. Eager to get the job done and go home, he dropped the home challenger within 30 seconds of the opening bell. And 7 times after that, right? 6 more times, 7 times overall. Finally ending the festive drubbing in the 5th round. That was another season's beating. This was the final fight on Robinson's famous European tour as he tested himself at middleweight in preparation for facing Jake LaMotta in the legendary St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which was 2 months later after this fight. And it was also the 30-year-old's 4th knockout win in his last 5 fights. Guess what? Those 5 fights have been in 29 days. Okay? 29 days. He was on a 91 fight win streak, while this is believed to have been the first time a world champion ever fought in Germany. Robinson earned $50,000 for his 5-round demolition, but in true Sugar Ray style, he had spent every penny before sailing home 2 days later. Sugar Ray spent $50,000 in 2 days. Wow. $50,000 in 2 days. He made $50,000, and when he came home 2 days later, the $50,000 was gone. Kid Chocolate versus Frankie Click, 1933. Kid Chocolate and Frankie Click, 1933. Now, it was a glum Christmas day to forget for Cuban legend Kid Chocolate in 1933. Cuba's first ever world champion was on the decline by this stage of his classy career, and sadly proved to be routine work for Frankie Click. Yeah, that's Frankie Click on the left, Kid Chocolate on the right. Now, perhaps still recovering from a knockout loss to Tony Canzonieri just a month prior, he was stopped in 7 rounds by Click to lose his super featherweight title in Philadelphia. Following the fight, it was revealed that Kid Chocolate was suffering from syphilis, which saw him retire soon after this fight. Although he returned and won a further 47 or 50 fights before final retirement and eventually will return to Cuba for a quieter life. Now, somebody retire and come back, they usually fight 5 or 6 fights. This guy came back and fought 50 more fights. Those guys were just crazy in shape back then, man. He retired and came back and fought 50 more times. Jake LaMotta versus Danny Nautico, 1952. That's Nautico on the map there. Okay. Now, known as the Bronx Bull, Jake LaMotta endured a disastrous New Year's Eve clash against Danny Nautico in 1952. That might be Jake on the map. In Florida, LaMotta was sent, yeah, that is Jake. LaMotta was sent crashing to the canvas for the first time in 103 fights and was punched up so badly that his corner eventually pulled him out at the conclusion of the 7th round. Okay. Now, the legendary former middleweight champion, immortalized in the iconic movie Raging Bull, was left to spend the new year pondering his future, which ended up after just 3 more fights. Yep. Now let's talk about, I got I think 4 or 5 boxers that were born on Christmas Day. Let's take a look at them, okay? Let's take a look at these fighters that were born on Christmas Day. Okay? I think it's 4. Yeah, that's what I've got. 4 fighters born on Christmas Day. First one is Israel Vasquez, right? Fighters born on Christmas. Israel Vasquez. Now, Vasquez was born December 25th, 1977. He was a Mexican professional boxer who competed from 1995 to 2010. He was a 3-time super bantamweight world champion, having held the IBF title from 2004 to 2005 and the WBC, the ring titles twice from 2005 to 2008. And Vasquez is best known for a series of 4 fights against fellow Mexican Rafael Marquez, Juan Manuel's brother. And Israel Vasquez was from Mexico City, Mexico. He had a total of 49 fights. He won 44, lost 5, 32 knockouts. And he just passed away a couple weeks ago from cancer in Los Angeles, California, December 3rd, 2024. He just passed away. Remember they did the thing for him on ESPN before the fight a few weeks ago? Yeah, Israel Vasquez. Yep. Next fighter born on Christmas Day, Andrew Selby. Andrew Selby was born December 25th, 1988. He's a Welsh professional boxer. He held the British flyweight title from 2016 to 2019. As an amateur, he won a silver medal at the 2011 World Championships. And he won bronze at the 2013 World Championships. And he won gold at the 2011 and 2013 European Championships, all in the flyweight division. He's the younger brother of former featherweight world champion Lee Selby. Remember Lee? And he's from Bury, Wales. And he had a total of, just had 14 fights in his career. He won 13, lost 1, had 7 knockouts. Is he still fighting? Andrew Selby? I don't know. I'm not sure. He's 36 years old. He could be. I'm not sure. But he has 14 fights, 13 and 1, 7 knockouts. Next fighter born on Christmas, Bobby Gunn. Bobby Gunn was born on Christmas Day. Now, Bobby Gunn, he was born as Robert Williamson on December 25th, 1973. He's a former Canadian professional boxer and bare knuckles boxer, right? Went the bare knuckles route too. And he competed as a glove boxer from 1989 to 2017. Wow, that's a long, that's what? 28 years. Wow, that's a long career. And he twice challenged for a world title, the WBO Cruiserweight title in 2007 and the IBF Cruiserweight title in 2009. Fell short both times. He's from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, and he had a total of 32 fights in his career. He won 23, lost 7, 1 draw, 1 no contest, 20 knockouts, 86.9% knockout rate. Bobby Gunn. Yeah, he had a nice knockout rate. 86.9. Next boxer born on Christmas. Finally, this is the final one born on Christmas. Francisco Vargas. Francisco Vargas. Born Christmas Day. Francisco was born December 25th, 1984. He was a Mexican professional boxer, also known for his nickname, El Bandido. As an amateur, Vargas represented Mexico at the 2008 Olympics. He didn't medal as a lightweight, He lost to the eventual gold medalist in the lightweight division, right? And he held the WBC super featherweight title between 2015 and 2017, 2-year reign. Also for Mexico City, Mexico. He had 33 fights in his career. He won 27, lost 4, 2 draws, 19 knockouts. Now let's look at some of these families, some of these boxing families. We're gonna look at some like 6 or 7 boxing families now, okay? Look at some boxing families. Okay. How's everybody enjoying their Christmas Day? New Year's is next week. Okay, let me get these boxing families up for us. Yep, jump right in. Some father and son fighters. Now Joe Frazier, son and daughter were boxers, right? But we're gonna talk about him in Marvis. His daughter was named Jackie Frazier Lyde. Remember? Yeah. I even put her in the picture. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me get this going for you. Box Raw. Okay. Yeah, just looking at some father and son duos, boxing families. Christmas is about family. Yep. Kind of slow today. I appreciate the people that took a little bit of time out their day for me because, it's Christmas. People got their families and stuff over, eating, drinking. I just got my usual cooler, Ain't no big thing. I'm gonna eat at 4:01 though. Here we go. Let's look at some father and son families. The first one is the Eubanks. Chris Sr. and Chris Jr. Chris Sr. and Chris Jr. The Eubanks. There you go. Oh man, my big fingers. Oh, it came right back. Okay. Chris Sr. and Chris Jr., the Eubanks family. Okay, now boxing can often become a family tradition. Once a fighter hangs up their gloves after a great career, the next generation can tend to follow in their footsteps. And when a son or a daughter takes up their father's former craft in the boxing ring, sometimes the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But on other occasions, the bar has been set too high for the offspring to eclipse or even emulate the achievements of their famous fathers. Okay? Now we take a look back today in history at some of the best ever father, son, daughter fighters and outline some of the most successful boxing families. I never like to say best ever or most successful, because you're always leaving somebody. I like to say some of the best ever, things like that. But the Eubanks is first. That's Chris Jr. up front, Chris Sr. in the back. Now, when your father reigned as a two-division world champion and was widely known as simply the best, it's always going to be an uphill task to ever attempt to emulate their feats. Now, while Chris Eubank Jr. may not have reached the dizzy heights his dad, Chris Eubank Sr., did in his prime in terms of silverware success, he has enjoyed his own respectfully prosperous career. Yeah, Eubanks Jr. haven't did too bad. Now, Eubanks Jr. has been involved in many massive fights, and due to his surname and own unique personality, he has become a big star in the sport of boxing, right? As is the case with sons following dads who were great champions. Fully moving out of their shadow is a tough process. But Eubanks Jr. has already carved out his own legacy. Nevertheless, yeah, I would say he's out from under his father's shadow, Eubanks Jr. Okay, the next one is the Mayweathers, Floyd Sr. and Floyd Jr. Mayweathers. Okay, there they are. Now, while it's often difficult to surpass famous fathers, sometimes special sons come along to become the more prominent fighter of their family. Floyd Mayweather Jr. undoubtedly achieved this despite following his father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., and both his uncles, Roger and Jeff Mayweather, into the squared circle. Now, Mayweather Sr. was a top welterweight contender who once challenged Sugar Ray Leonard, while Roger secured 2 world titles in an illustrious career. Now, though Money Mayweather eclipsed them both, all 3 of them, by reigning as a 5-weight world champion and is going down in history as one of the all-time greats and biggest earning athletes ever. Yeah, this is a case where Floyd passed his father, his famous father, and his uncle. Yeah, don't happen a lot, but Floyd has accomplished that. And this next one certainly did not pass his father. The Chavezes, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Okay, they talk about him and what's the guy that Mike Tyson just fought? The YouTube. Oh, Jake Paul. They talk about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Jake Paul. I heard that being thrown around. Now, widely seen as the greatest boxer to ever come from the proud fighting nation of Mexico, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. is a true national hero. The 3-division world champion is a legend of the sport, and any children who opted to follow his lead into a life of prize fighting were always going to face a very uphill battle. But Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. did manage to rally the world title success in his own career, reigning in the middleweight division and taking on several high-profile opponents such as Sergio Martinez and Canelo Alvarez. Right? Didn't beat neither one of them, but he took them on. Despite once being a formidable champion at 160 pounds, Chavez Jr. could never really live up to the expectations set by his historic father. Nobody expected him to, man. Nobody who knew boxing expected Jr. to live up to Senior. Come on, man. He would have had damn near impossible. But anyway, towards the end of his career, Jr. faltered in the ring and perhaps suffered from the intense pressure on his shoulders that came from being the son of his country's most distinguished champion. Yeah, they shouldn't have put that kind of pressure on Jr. He was never going to live up to Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., not in a million years, man. Next is the Frasers. I put Jackie up there too, because she was a fighter too, right? Jackie Frazier lied. Fought Layla Ali. Her and Layla Ali fought on the anniversary of the fight of the century. It was June 8th, 1971. Their famous fathers, her and Layla Ali, fought June 30th, 2001. And what they called, what was billed as Ali Frazier 4, right? And Ali won. Ali Frazier 4. Yep. Layla Ali won that one. Yep. I think Jackie Frazier didn't have too many fights either. But Smoking Joe Frazier was one of the greatest heavyweight champions in history. and an Olympic gold medalist also. He's most famously remembered for being the first man to ever defeat bitter rival Muhammad Ali in their monumental 1971 fight of the century. Right? Joe Frazier put him down in the 15th round and took the title. I think Joe would have won that fight without that knockdown, but that was like icing on the cake. But I still thought Joe still would have got the decision. Yeah, but that was like ice. After he got that knockdown, with nobody was going to deny him then. Nobody was going to deny him. A knockdown always helps. Now, that legendary Madison Square Garden victory, along with wins over Jerry Quarry, Oscar Bonavena, and George Chuvalo, among others, cemented his legacy as an all-time great. Now, Frazier, after his boxing career, he became a trainer for his own son, Marvis, who reached a strong level himself, but could never realistically emulate the achievements of his father. Yeah, just like Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and Jr., Marvis was never going to reach the heights that Joe reached. That was just putting too much on the kid, man. That was damn near impossible. You know, just like the Chavez's, Marvis Frazier was not going to, no. Come on, man. Now, the younger Frazier lost on 2 occasions, including in a single heavyweight title pursuit against the great Larry Holmes in 1983. Yeah, Holmes was beating on him and calling, hit him with a couple combinations. Come on, referee, stop it. Hit him with another couple combinations. Come on, referee, get over here, stop this fight. Yeah. Joe Frazier wanted to jump in there so bad and tag Holmes, but he was just a trainer. It's the one, have Ohio State football team that time. The guy was running down the sideline for a touchdown, and Woody Hayes, the coach, tackled him. Woody tackled. Y'all remember that? Ohio State coach Woody Hayes was the character. The guy was running down. I think it might have been Michigan, their arch bitter rival. The guy was in there out running for a touchdown. Woody tackled the guy. Woody Hayes, the coach. Joe wanted to do that part, to jump in there and tag Holmes. Give it old Woody. And Woody never coached another game after that. They fired Woody. Yeah. But anyway, a second first-round defeat for Marvis came in 1986 when he was crushed against a destructive Mike Tyson. I think that was the 32nd fight, was it? Who was still on course to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Yeah, Mike beat Marvis in like 30 seconds, I think. Wasn't that the one? Yeah. And that broke the record because it was 47. What was that? Was it Sugar Ray beat somebody in 47 seconds back in the 50s? 49, something like that. But yeah, Mike Tyson. But somebody beat somebody after that in 11 seconds, man. 11 seconds. With the first punch of the fight, he knocked the guy out in 11 seconds. The bell rung, he went out there, hit the guy, and it was over. Now, that was a dive there, man. And I don't know, though, but yeah, he knocked the guy out in 11 seconds with the first punch he threw. And finally, Leon Spinks and Corey Spinks. I believe it's the last one. Yeah, Leon Spinks and Corey Spinks. Yes, this is the last one. No, it ain't. One more after this. Leon Spinks and Corey Spinks, though, right? Now, there you go. That's Leon way over there on the left. Michael Spinks in there, Corey. Another Spinks person over there by Leon. And Don King. Is that Leon or another brother? I don't know. And Don King got to get in there. They say Don King spent big money to get his hair fixed like that. Man, you might as well took that money and threw it in the fireplace, Don King. Looked like he just got up out of bed. But they always look like that. It would be like 1 million people in the ring, but you could always see where Don King was at. By that hair, and he was tall too, And then you see that hairdo, there go Don King. It'd be like 150 people in the ring, but you could always pick Don King out. Yeah. Now, coming off the Spinks, Leon and Corey, coming off a hugely successful 1976 Olympic Games with a gold medal, it only took Leon Spinks 8 professional fights before becoming undisputed heavyweight champion. Remember that? In 1978, he stunned Muhammad Ali and the boxing universe to become only the second man at the time to ever beat the greatest. No, he wasn't. Third man, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton had beat him. That's the typo. He was the third man to beat him. Joe Frazier, Ken Norton had beat him before Leon. Leon became the third man to beat him, right? and write himself into the history books. A loss in the immediate rematch that same year proved to be his final hurrah as heavyweight champion, later losing to Larry Holmes in 1981, then falling short at cruiserweight against Dwight Muhammad Qawi, too. Yeah, Leon went down to cruiserweight. Now his son, Corey Spinks, managed to emulate his father's famous feats and become undisputed champion himself, turning professional in 1997, just 2 years after his dad had hung up the gloves, right? Called the Next Generation, Corey reigned as undisputed ruler at welterweight and later added titles at light middleweight, as well as an impressive career to follow on from his dad. Now, I can only remember two father and son world championship combinations, Leon and Corey, and Floyd Patterson and his son, Tracy Patterson. I can't think of any other ones. Leon and Corey and Floyd Patterson and his son. Oh, no. Yeah. Roger and Floyd were uncle and nephews, so no, they don't count. Yeah, that's all I can think of. The next is Floyd Patterson and Tracy Harris Patterson. Yeah. One of the two father-son championship combinations. Mm-hmm. Now, Floyd Patterson and Tracy Harris Patterson. Okay. Hold on for a minute, please. Okay. Yeah, we still got some others. I always got a backup plan when we run short. Yeah, Tracy and Floyd and Tracy Patterson, Tracy Harris Patterson. I think Tracy was adopted, or Floyd married his mother or something like that. Yeah, wasn't blood father and son, but father and son. You know, Floyd trained him, had him from a youngster. You know, so yeah, same thing. Sometimes you get children by marriage or adoption. They more closer than your blood children is, right? Because, you know, you pick them. You don't pick your blood children. They just show up. But when you adopt a child, you pick that one, right? So I heard Ben Cartwright say that one time on Bonanza. He was telling Randy, wasn't that his name, Randy? Little redhead boy. Well, I picked Horse and Joe on I didn't pick them. I picked you, Randy. Yeah. Oh, we do have one more. The Benz. Okay. Floyd Patterson and Tracy Harris Patterson. Now, in 1956, at just 21 years of age, Floyd Patterson became the youngest world heavyweight champion in history when he beat fellow legend Archie Moore. And the record was later beaten by Mike Tyson at 20 years old, and that stands to this day. Now, 3 years later, Floyd would also become the first fighter to ever reclaim the heavyweight crown after losing it when he avenged his defeat to Ingemar Johansson. Now, this incredible professional success came after securing a gold medal for Team USA at the 1952 Olympics. I think that was in Poland, right? Helsinki, isn't that in Poland? He got a gold medal at the 1952 Olympics as well, with his career feats seeing him rightfully inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1991. After retiring, Patterson took up coaching his adopted son, Tracy Harris Patterson, and together they became the first father and son pair to ever both win world titles in boxing. Yeah, Leon and Corey was the second one. Mm-hmm. Now, the younger Patterson won world honors at both super bantamweight and super featherweight. What is that? 122 and 130, yeah. In a highly distinguished career, and was involved in many high-profile fights, including two against the popular Arturo Gatti. Now, I wonder if any father and son in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if Tracy Harris Patterson or Corey Spinks. Well, I know Leon ain't in the Hall of Fame, so I know the Spinks, but Floyd is in there. I don't have to check to see if his son is in there, you know. And finally, Nigel and Conor Benn, man, they are just weird, man. These are two weird freaking guys, man. Two weird weirdos. Nigel Benn and Conor Benn. I almost dropped them out the program. Now, after the Dark Destroyer came the Destroyer, as Conor Benn followed in his father Nigel Benn's footsteps into a career in the ring. The senior Ben of the family rallied to world titles in 2 weight divisions and became a huge British fan favorite for his aggressive style and devastating knockouts. Most notably, Ben was involved in one of boxing's great rivalries with 2 epic showdowns against fellow British boxer Chris Eubank Sr., while both their sons were famously scheduled to face off in 2022 before cancellation. Yeah, Conor Ben was trying to kill Chris Eubank. He had him at a catch weight, a rehydration clause, and Conor had every PED known to man. Even was taking pregnancy medicine. It's a good thing they canceled that because Chris Eubank might not be no longer with us, man. Conor Ben has enjoyed a rampant rise through the ranks at welterweight in his own career, with some help from his dad in training camps, and still has his sights set on emulating his father's famous world title achievements down the line. Yeah, Conor is still, him and Chris Eubanks Jr., they both still active. They are both still active. Okay. Now let's see what else we got going on today. Okay, let's see. Now where did I write that down at, man? Oh yeah, on the back. Father and son. Boxing's best. Okay, yeah, let's look at that. Boxing's best England versus USA fights. That sounds interesting. Nothing to do with Christmas. The Christmas part of the show is over. Okay, I thought this was going to take us all the way out, but it didn't. 3:30. It's link time, but I don't see anybody. Any linkage in the chat. But let's do this. I'm gonna drop the link and do this, so just in case. Oh, GP's in here, but let me see. Let me get this. Then I'm gonna drop the link and do this. Okay. Boxing's best UK versus USA fights. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? But how's everybody? Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Merry Happy. Merry Happy. That sounds like a name, Merry Happy. Okay. Yeah, I didn't have this one ready. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. But what do we have this weekend? Who's fighting? I have no idea. Who's fighting this weekend? Anybody know? Man, I know next year. What about the Tank fight? Has it officially been canceled or what? Because I don't. So far, only one I heard say it was Tank. But hey, he's the one fighting. So who else do you need to say it, right? He's one of the fighters. You know. Was looking forward to that one. Maybe I don't know. T. Hill said it's not canceled. So we'll have to see. We still got it was March 1st. We still got like 3 months, so who knows? This boxing game done got crazy, man. Especially with this social media. You know. Back in the old days, we didn't have social media for trolling and all that kind of stuff. Tank might have been trolling everybody. Who knows? We will see though, because March 1st will get here fast. You know. Now, national pride is often a factor in key fights between 2 top boxers from different countries. Now, throughout boxing history, there have been significant matchups involving great fighters from England and the USA. Now, in the earlier days of the sport, English champions would cross the channel to face the toughest American opponents. While the rivalry between nations has intensified over time in the modern era, it's intensified. Okay, so the first one, no pictures now. First one is Mike Tyson versus Frank Bruno. Mike Tyson versus Frank Bruno. In 1989, Frank Bruno traveled to Las Vegas, Nevada to challenge a prime Mike Tyson, who was 3 years into his unbeaten and destructive run as world heavyweight champion. In what was a monumental task for the visiting Londoner, Bruno managed to recover from an early onslaught and rocked on Mike at the end of the opening round. But the Brooklyn-born champion rallied back to defend his undisputed crown with a ruthless fifth-round knockout victory. Bruno became heavyweight champion in his fourth attempt with a famous win over Oliver McCall in 1995 to set up a rematch with Tyson the following year. But it ended quicker than the first meeting, as Tyson prevailed inside 3 rounds in Las Vegas to claim the championship once again, just 3 fights into his ring return from prison. Yep. Fought Bruno twice, stopped him both times. The second time in the first round. Let me get these weirdos off of the screen, man. Yeah. They are truly a couple of freaks. Those bands, man. Yes, they are. Okay. Now, Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Ricky Hatton. USA versus England. Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Ricky Hatton. One of the biggest fights ever involving an Englishman, Ricky Hatton brought his rapturous army of supporters to Las Vegas to battle pound-for-pound superstar Floyd Mayweather Jr. in 2007. In a genuine super fight at the time, Mayweather and Hatton had gathered momentum for their clash with a high-profile press tour in which Pretty Boy Floyd produced many trademark moments of trash talking. Yeah, it was Pretty Boy at that time. 2008, that's it. In a showdown billed as undefeated, it was Mayweather's class that ultimately shone through as he cut, dropped, and stopped Manchester's fan favorite in the 10th round. Now, despite the heated build-up, Mayweather was full of respect for the hitman moments after going 39-0, stating, "Ricky Hatton is one tough fighter. He is still a champion in my eyes, and I'd love to see him fight again." Everybody hitting the like, a little bit of people in the wow. Yeah. It's Christmas. Tomorrow is boxing in the state, Nevada. Right? Nevada. Okay. USA versus England. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Okay? Producing one of the best trilogies in boxing history, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder collided in 3 epic matchups from 2018 to 2021. Manchester-born Fury returned from a long and well-documented layoff in their first meeting in California and dramatically got off the canvas in the final round in a controversial draw with his American nemesis. Yeah, Tyson woke up, man. He's got some amazing recuperative powers. He woke up. Deontay put him in a nap and Tyson woke up out of it. Yep. Like one of them superheroes, man. Like from the cartoons. That remind me of the Undertaker in boxing. Remember, he'd be on the mat out, and all of a sudden he'd just come back, the eyes would open up. Yeah. 2 years later, Fury took advantage in the rivalry with a dominant 7th round stoppage victory in Las Vegas. Now, capping off their trilogy, the Gypsy King again had to climb off the ring floor to drop and brutally knock out Wilder to have his hand raised back in Las Vegas again. Okay? We are talking about USA versus England. Next, Muhammad Ali versus Henry Cooper. Muhammad Ali versus Henry Cooper. Even the greatest was involved in an England versus America ring clash, as Muhammad Ali twice famously took on London's own Henry Cooper. Ali cheated him one time. I'll tell you about it. Ali, then Cassius Clay, was sensationally sent to the floor by a huge Cooper left hook in their first 1963 fight. Here it is. As the round came to an end, Angelo Dundee famously signaled to the referee that Ali's glove was split. Many believe Dundee did this himself purposefully to buy his weary fighter valuable time to recuperate. Now, Ali might not have recuperated by the time that in between minute was over and might have went back out there and got knocked out that night. But Angelo cut his glove on purpose and then went back to get another one. And by that time, they had to take extra time in between the round, right? And Ali had recuperated. Ali did recover and ultimately stepped up the pace to earn a stoppage win over the home favorite at Wembley, because Cooper always cut a lot, and he stopped him on cuts. Ali returned to London 3 years later as world heavyweight champion for a rematch. Cooper was again stopped, this time in 6 rounds after being cut and bloodied badly. He cut him up in the first fight too. Yeah, Cooper had one of those people that cut easy. Mm-hmm. Now, USA versus UK. Naseem Hamed versus Kevin Kelly. Naseem Hamed versus Kevin Kelly. Now, having dominated as featherweight world champion on home soil with wins over the likes of Steve Robinson and Manuel Medina, Prince Naseem Hamed was ready to take over America. The reigning champion made his long-awaited USA debut at Madison Square Garden in 1997, defending his title against dangerous former title holder Kevin Kelly. Now, Hamed's arrival on American shores captured the nation's news coverage as he landed via British Airways Concorde ahead of a hugely entertaining New York battle. He came over on the Concorde. The champion was forced to abandon his familiar hands-down style in the ring, though, in what proved to be a tougher test than perhaps expected against New Yorker Kevin Kelly. Despite suffering 3 knockdowns himself, Hamed returned fire to drop Kelly 3 times as well, with the final time securing him a 4th round stoppage success. You know, between the two, 6 knockdowns in 3 rounds. Wow. USA versus the UK. Sugar Ray Robinson versus Randolph Turpin. They had 2 fights. Yep. Turpin won in the UK and Sugar Ray won in the USA. In 1951, Randy Turpin rallied to one of the greatest victories of all time as he stunned and overcame the legendary pound-for-pound great, Sugar Ray Robinson. Over 15 rounds in London, Turpin handed Robinson what was only his 2nd career defeat to that point, after an incredible 134 fights, right? Just the 2nd man to beat the iconic middleweight champion after Jake LaMotta 8 years earlier. Turpin wrote himself into the history books and reigned as the division ruler. Now, the Leamington Spa-born fighter would go on to lose his title in an immediate rematch back in New York City just 2 months later. But Turpin's legacy still lives on to this day as an English boxing legend, and he was even immortalized with his own statue in Warwick over there in the UK. Yep. The USA versus the UK. Lennox Lewis versus Evander Holyfield. Lennox Lewis versus Evander Holyfield. Yeah, that was they robbed Lewis in it. Well, they called it a draw, but Lennox really won that fight. Lennox Lewis versus Evander Holyfield, the first one. Now, London-born Lennox Lewis and American legend Evander Holyfield first collided in a heavyweight unification in 1999, but fought to a highly, very, very controversial draw. Lewis, like the majority of those watching, thought he'd done more than enough to triumph in New York before the judges' scores were read aloud and met with a backlash. Yeah, I'm one of them that thought he'd done enough too. Yeah. The two were ordered to meet again, an immediate rematch, 7 months later in Las Vegas, where Lewis left no doubts over who was the division's top dog this time. He earned a unanimous decision victory over 12 rounds to become the undisputed king. Right? And others boxing best England versus USA fights. Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson. Nigel Benn versus Gerald McClellan. Carl Froch versus Jermaine Taylor. Donald Curry versus Lloyd Honeygan. Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. Bob Fitzsimmons versus James J. Corbett. Okay? Let's see what else we got here. Finished off today. Okay? Timeline through Black boxing history. That's all I got left. Let's look at that. A timeline through Black boxing history. Fill out this last 20 minutes. Appreciate everybody for rocking with me today. You see, it's a slow day. It's Christmas. Yes, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. Tomorrow is boxing in the States. Nevada, home of Las Vegas. And then Friday, the profile this week is the life and career of the Hawk, Aaron Pryor, the Hawk. Man, with the most stamina I ever seen, man. That man would go from round 1, went 15 rounds to the end of round 15, the same pace, man. Never slowed down. But what was in that bottle? Was it cocaine and orange juice like some people said? Was it asthma medicine crushed up like others said to give him more stamina? Or was it stomachache medicine like the Hawk said? We will never know. We will never know. But he was never busted for anything illegal being in it, so hey. Never busted. But see, I believe it was the WBA dropped the ball after the first Aguayo fight. They didn't test Pryor. We would not have that mystery if they had just tested him. But then they ordered the rematch, but they did not test him after the fight to see what was in his system. Nope. They didn't do it. They clearly should have. Because one fighter, who was his trainer? Was it Panama or something? I forgot. It's Panama Lewis or somebody. And one guy that was trained by the same guy that trained Pryor said he put illegal stuff, gave his fighters illegal things to help them out and to help them out as far as stamina and stuff in fights, right? But, he could have just been bitter because something happened and he wasn't training no more or something like that, Just like Jack Dempsey fired his manager and the man put it and wrote a little story and said, don't open it until after his death. And in there he said, he wrapped Jack Dempsey's hands before the Jess Willard fight. And the big guy, whatever his name was. Was it Jess Willard, the big tall guy? But he said he hand wrapped Dempsey's hands and personally put some illegal stuff in the hand wraps. But come to find out, he was bitter and lying because he had got fired by Dempsey. And very reliable source, the man that founded Ring Magazine, he said he was in the room when Dempsey's hands got wrapped. Not only with nothing illegal put in his hand wraps, this guy didn't even wrap them. They claimed he did wrap the illegal stuff in the hand wraps. He wasn't even the guy that wrapped Dempsey's hand. So, people do that sometimes when they get fired or something. And why would he say don't open it until after his death? Because it was a lie. He didn't want to be faced with the lie. So it was stipulated through his lawyer, do not open this past story until after my death. And then he lied, right? Doc Kearns was his name. Yeah. Doc Kearns. Used to be Dempsey's manager. The old Doc Kearns. And that's how that went down. So, I'm saying the guy that used to be trained by the same guy that trained Pryor, him telling the story after he went to another trainer about the guy doing illegal stuff, could have been a lie from bitterness or something, because the guy might have got rid of him or something. You know what I mean? So yeah, you can't trust that. The guy might have a reason to lie. I'm trying to get this up, and this thing that went to Facebook. That's crazy. I don't know if Just Du's Boxing, let me check real quick. It's coming on today or not. Let me see if I see a thumbnail or something. From The Voice. Probably not, because if he was, he probably would have been in here by now, Yeah. No, I don't think so. I don't see anything from Just. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get a Just Do box today. But I'm getting off because I'm going to eat at 4:01. Not a second later. I stayed on here till 5 yesterday. Yeah, I don't see a thumbnail from Just today. So yeah, I think we're gonna have a Just Do boxing today. So we got a BBO boxing TV tonight, though. 8 o'clock with the game. Yep. We have BBO boxing TV at 8. And then usually we would have the Rise podcast at 9. I don't know about what the schedule is for today for the shows. And then we start all over tomorrow morning. 6 o'clock a.m. Crest the Legend. The Hangout opens at 8 and on through the day. Now, throughout boxing history, many black fighters had proudly stood as symbols of aspiration, success, power, and resolve. Some overcame the systemic odds to become champions, while many illustrious names were denied deserved opportunities. Right? So, December 1810, born into slavery at a tobacco plantation farm, Tom Mullinaw, and it was in Maryland too, I believe, he emerged with his freedom through boxing. His bare-knuckle fight with English champion Thomas Cribb is regarded as one of the most important in history. Mike Tyson stated, he's the first black champion who earned his freedom through fighting. June 27th, 1890. Canadian George Dixon became the first black fighter ever to capture a world title by beating Nuke Wallace in London. He was the first black athlete to win any kind of title, right, in any sport. And he bypassed America's segregation laws, right? Little Chocolate was a 19th century catalyst for future generations of black boxers. 1901. Damn, I could save this for a whole show for another day. Barbados Joe Walcott was the first black fighter to claim a world championship in the 20th century by knocking out Jim Ferns. Later heavyweight champion Jersey Joe Walcott named himself after the man he regarded as the greatest ever. On May 12th, 1902, Joe Gans became the first ever native-born black American world title holder after stopping Frank Earn in one round. The Old Master was also the first American-born black man to hold a world championship in any sport, right? 1904. The first world title fight between two black boxers. Barbados Joe Walcott lost his title to the Dixie Kid by a controversial disqualification, with the referee later believed to have bet on the victor. Wow. The referee bet on the Dixie Kid and then disqualified Barbados Joe. Man, that referee should have never refereed another fight in his life, man. He bet on the fight. I thought today was bad. Wow. That might be, Tony Weeks might have bet on the Rolly and Barroso fight. You know? But anyway, December 26, 1908, day after Christmas. Christmas boxing. Isn't that something? Christmas boxing. One we just talked about, though. Jack Johnson made history by becoming boxing's first ever African-American world heavyweight champion, stopping Tommy Burns in Australia. We talked about that just a little while ago, remember? July 4th, 1910. Reigning heavyweight king Jack Johnson knocked out America's great white hope, James J. Jeffries, in the fight of the century. The Galveston Giant cemented himself as a towering cultural figure in American history, transcending the sport with his achievements. Let me stop right there. I can make this a whole show, man. Let me stop. Y'all in here forget what I just said about these dates, because this is going to be a whole show, man. I don't know why I started. So y'all forget little bit of stuff I just said, okay? Make sure I didn't start it. That can be a whole entire show, man. Somebody should have stopped me. Yeah. I'm not doing no more. That's an entire show. timeline through Black history next week. So don't miss tomorrow. Nevada, that's going to be big. History of boxing in Nevada. Gonna find a whole bunch of significant events concerning boxing out there. Wow, might not have no link time tomorrow, and then the Hawk Friday, closing out this week, big time. Yep. I got a good fantasy matchups Monday next week. Don't miss it. It's 15 different fights. Do not miss fantasy matchups Monday, next Monday. I'm telling y'all. It is going to be good. Yeah. And then next Wednesday, we're going to do profile on Phyllis Trinidad again because requested by BEO Boxing TV. So we're doing it again. Okay. It was a good one. It's been a while. So next Wednesday. Okay. And everybody enjoy not on the rest of their Christmas Day. And we'll be back tomorrow with boxing in the States, Nevada, okay, home of Las Vegas. So a lot of iconic fights, all kinds of history out there. The first fight of the century was there in Reno. Jack Johnson and James J. Jeffries. A whole bunch of fights. Caesar's Palace, the MGM Grand, T-Mobile Arena. We're going to be busy tomorrow. Tex Ricard promoted a lot of fights out there. Mills Lane, the boxing referee, is from Nevada. Man, I might not even have enough time. We're going to talk about how Las Vegas became the boxing capital of the world. All of that, man. So don't miss tomorrow. Okay. Might not even get all the stuff I'm seeing in. Not just Las Vegas, Reno, Nevada got a big boxing history behind it too. Not just Vegas. Reno, Nevada. Yes. So, but let me get ready to get out of here. Okay. Appreciate everybody coming through today. Let me see who we have. Let me see that. There it is. I'm on the wrong page. I get on the wrong page. I was looking up some other stuff to finish the show off. The backup plans. What's the date of today? Ain't that crazy? Somebody asked what's the date of today. Today is the 25th, dummy. I'm talking about what's the date of today. Okay. Bruce Gass, boxing, jazz, and more. Gregory Pratt, Crush the Legend. Hardcore Boxing News, J Hardcore. Donnie Williams, D for the Win. Azim Shabazz, Mike Mazik, and Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas. Appreciate everybody. Take a little bit out of their Christmas to spend with me today. Appreciate it. Tomorrow is boxing in the States, Nevada. I will see y'all then. Okay? Join me then. Because if it's Monday through Friday at 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. I believe it's no just do boxing today, right? But this is Cass Sports. Everybody, Merry Christmas. I will see y'all around those JBT streets.